Good morning. Seems we're having an issue. There we go. All right, all right. Welcome to this Saturday morning's episode of Coffee and Stocks at MyMI Wallet. Excuse me. I'm actually on the move while I'm doing this, so I'm getting my setup moving. Today we're going to be looking at this week's top performers, some of the top stocks in our watch list that we watch all week. We'll compile a list together and then go through looking at what that looks like going into the week. Um, right now, uh, just to get started, what we're doing here at MyMI Wallet, every morning during the week, Monday through Friday, we have a free, I guess you could say, co-stream where you can join us in our voice chat on our Discord or watch us on YouTube or Twitch. Um, and hop into the Discord or the conversation with us directly and have your stocks reviewed um, in real time with us and the team, right? We'll talk through the stocks, entries, exits, but actually, playing the stock live in real time with you, giving you that analysis to take with you along your way throughout your day as you're watching these trades. Finding Sorry, my Bluetooth connected to my vehicle, but yeah. So, what our goal is to work together on, um, you know, looking at those trades together and then allowing you to take that with you throughout your day just to make sure that part got missed. But ultimately, our goal is you can join our Discord to join the conversation, but you can also register on our website. I'll put both links in the description below just to make sure that was captured. On the Discord, you can get into some of our more active conversations that we have kind of split off. So, it's not a conglomerate like a Facebook Messenger chat or whatever of conversation. You can kind of segregate that so we can have stock conversations, crypto conversations separately if we wanted to, on a per stock ticker basis, even. Um, but ultimately, we can work as a community and get a consensus of where everybody sits in that community as far as what we're all holding, whether we're bullish or bearish as a community on a specific stock ticker, using that and the tools we provide through the website. And our trading tools and platforms to make better decisions as a community, but ultimately down to the individual. Um, so, just to give you a few updates on our website, we finally have a stable environment that we're putting together and finishing up. We've pretty much jam packed all the tools we could possibly think of in there with the time we had, right? Because once we turned this on, we wanted it to be able to be sustainable on its own moving forward for you guys and gals, so that you have the tools available that most institutional investors use on a day-to-day basis to make their trades and these algos that we see in these computers, right? Consistently every day. And how do you analyze and view the market? How do you find the next moves, and how do you position yourself with the lowest risk to be positioned? And you know if what should have happens, are you prepared for if it didn't? We get together every morning, Monday through Friday, like I said, from 6 a.m. Central Time to 8 a.m. Central Time. And then from there, we actually let the live stream go until the close of the market at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time of the watch list, which is basically looking for those opportunities for you. So you're more than free to hop on the stream. That's why we keep it open and why no one's here, just so everyone's familiar with what's going on. Is that we have that coffee and stocks pre-market session from 6 to 8, and then we go on about our day watching those movers that we found in that pre-market. Those pre-market hours and what we'll watch for going into the market, reactions we'll look for, re-entries. I love finding where the money goes in the pre-market and then preparing for consolidation continuation pushes and breakouts on the stocks so that way I feel a little more confident in my positioning. And then I know where my stops are, right? So if I get heavy into something, I can position myself appropriately. From there, what we'll do is at the beginning we will um, basically do a stock market overview, go over what's going on, and then we'll look at the crypto markets and give you an updates there, along with any economic news and calendar review that we need to take into consideration going into that next week. And then we'll go into those target trades that we're looking at for the upcoming week as we push forward and build that weekly watch list and events to watch together, and then ultimately have the tools on the MyMI Wallet platform to track that information. So, again, if you're listening in, I appreciate you. If you hop in when you can, I understand. But ultimately appreciate the support. If you could just simply like and share, and then also subscribe if you haven't already and you're new to us, to get more updates on what we're doing. We will start doing product and solution releases here soon, more kind of update videos on what does what in the My environment, as we're building an entire ecosystem focused on financial services, while also building those tools to provide you, at a more cost-effective rate than what you would have to pay, $300-400 for some of these tools. We're trying to make that more available for people like ourselves, and the group of traders that we work with to have accessibility to the tools they need to basically trade efficiently and make better trade positions and handle their risk management more efficiently as well along the way, right? So I'm going to take a quick break and then we'll start looking into the markets. Right now, I have Bitcoin on the chart, and then we'll go from there. All right, you're back. Okay, so this week was, eh, to say the least. Um, Seen some crazy stock reactions. Like, let's see, we had SMX. We saw trading, I think Wednesday, Thursday into the 64s. It's probably like around the 20s or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but um, traded high to the 150s from there that next day, and then launched to, I think 498 was the peak that I saw, at least. That's all I was tracking. I need to go back here in a minute and look, but that was one that took off to the moon. We saw some other ones take off too, um, pretty decently. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. I can't. They're not ringing a bell just now. Um, I really don't chase those too much. I mean, it's phenomenal to jump $430. I'm not gonna lie. But I start to get those GameStop vibes, and I just kind of kick back, right? I make my money the way I need to make my money, more in a controlled environment is what I prefer. Something with better decision making and intuitive, uh, discern or determined trades and investments, knowing my plan, knowing my play in and out. When things like SMX go parabolic, it's hard to know where the top is and where it ultimately bottoms after that, right? So, we saw some of the traders on the team trade from that 64. Actually let it go right before it went to that 150 and then ultimately launched. I think he missed out on like a 40K trade right there. It was pretty insane to see that at our fingertips and just have to sit there and watch it run away, right? But it's not a problem. That's what's great about the system, is that we were pulling up those stocks in the trade uh, system. So that's why I found buds to join my Bluetooth again. But yeah, the system's been picking up these stocks ahead of time, and we just need to do a more efficient job of being realistic, and then also keeping an eye on these things. So that's what I hope to do in our Saturday coffee and talk session, is to have the ability to basically go through and review the week's performance and some of those stocks that have done an amazing job in understanding where they'll end up going into the next week, right? And being prepared for those moves, potentially parabolic moves that are just lying there waiting to happen. I actually heard something about most of the people in SMX. I think it closed somewhere around 300, 350 or something. The spreads on it was crazy, so no telling honestly. But um, we're looking at going into QCLS. I actually am positioned in QCLS, just all full disclosure, no bias. I have nothing that really is tying me to it. I'm just there in price action. Um, which would be nice to see them drive it up if they were, because I'm pretty well positioned in it. But just, QCLS was another one that we discovered. One of the other traders actually found along the way, and we monitored throughout Wednesday, I think, to Thursday progress, and I positioned myself going into Friday after it pretty much consolidated from its weekly performance, which is always something I look for. Great performance during the week, and then some type of consolidation. I can use that performance during the week to understand where we'll land, where my stops are, where I don't feel comfortable holding beyond. I mean, there is that weekend hold that you got to be concerned about, but I mean, it can also be that parabolic jump going into next week. So, something to look for, QCLS. Let me do this. I do have the watch list still pulled up. CAPR was another that we thought moving as well, and we were trading. I think Monday, Tuesday time frame, maybe Wednesday. My week's starting to blur together, but um, that was another one that came across the board. Willard, WHLR. I actually had a split, but was actually doing some pretty well in performing yesterday. I think it went to like 640s or something like that. By the time it tapped out, and it's since settled at the Willer 534. So Um, but even though that, I think it actually dropped down to 5. We can look at the chart. I don't know while I'm sitting here. Look over there real quick. Willer was one, and then you saw TGL up like I think it was 2,000% at one point in time, because it also did a stock split as well. So we saw robotics get some attention from White House administration, and that kind of pushed up also the quantum stocks and the AI stocks as well. Um, we saw IRBT on the list. What was some of the other ones we traded throughout the week? There was another one. Can't think of off the top of my head. Probably check the trading account. Let's see if I had it in my watch list down here. ONDS was one that I watched this week. It did really, really well. Uh, let's see if I can get it up here. Let's get it up here. There we go. ONDS. She hit about 9:30. What is that? 9:31 or so? 9:30 at her peak. Um, ONDS has a upside of 11.5, man. I mean, she has some run in her. Let me remove these studies here so we can see the stock a little bit better there. Remove all studies. Yeah, so past few days you can see we were looking at her. I think she was still around 640s going into Monday, and she cranked from there. Hit 850, 880. So consolidated, bounced off that 7 hard right there. You see that support that it bounced off of. And then just cranked back beyond its high there at the 880, 890, and then ultimately peaked out at 934. But I mean, if you look at the chart, man, she looked pretty good on this trend, just up, right? Had a beat on earnings, better than expected. But one I've been looking at and calling out. Open was one that was on the chart this week. BBAI was something I was watching. NUAI is another. So anyways, what we're going to do now is basically go through our weekly watch list, and we're going to find the ones that we want to watch going into this week, and we're going to do that in today's session. I see we got someone on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to the chat. If you have any stocks you want to look at together, I can pull those up right now. Right now, I have BTC, Bitcoin up, and right now it's still doing some consolidation. I was looking, I think, on Bitcoin while I got it pulled up. We'll go over that crypto market overview real quick. We were looking at Bitcoin 71.9. I was actually looking for a 73 or something like that, 74.5 is where it ended up. But I mean, good dip, strong rebound um, on that dip here. Excuse me, and holding support there, but it got as low as 83.98 or so, something like that. The low was 85.24. I'm sorry. And we've just been watching it consolidate more and more over the past few weeks. We were looking for support here, and it broke. And as you can see, it's just been forming resistance. So I'm gonna actually get rid of that support now because it doesn't exist right now. And we're looking more of support in this downward area here. So let's do this. You can see our buy zones right above the 70, right below 70K. But we're looking at 71. We think the market's going to potentially kick in quicker. That's what we were looking for on that 78, 161 right there. But ultimately, it's still showing some EMA drop, lower momentum. So we're inverted on the EMA. That's basically what this is showing. You see the VWAP cranking down on the daily there. We look at the 4 hour, kind of gives you a little bit more. We tried to convert EMAs here, and we're just struggling. So this could be an accumulation zone. As you can see, we're getting support in these areas. It needs to hold above 83.5 moving forward. Is what this tells me. So I'll mark that now. Let's see, right around there, just to keep that strong. Support right there. It might dip, as low as that 85. I mean, that's 3K short, but anyways, looking, you can also see on the BX trender there, we're starting to show some some consolidation back to the upside or continuation, excuse me. We're looking a little bit like we're getting some higher highs here. That's what that's showing us. We came out of that sell pivot. Let's look at the 30-minute real quick, and then I'll move on to the SPY. Yeah, we're building support here. I wanna catch that too. And it looks like right there is key. So 89, 143. If we're gonna see a continued bullish um crypto market going into 2026, like everybody was saying, crypto Bitcoin was going to be at 200, and here we're sitting at 89. We still have the entire month, so I'm not sitting here saying that's not the case. All I'm saying is we need to support 89, 143 at least, or somewhere around that area. It doesn't have to be precise. It's just that expectation that we're holding this support trend line right there on it. So that's what I'd be looking for going into the weekend, see how it reacts to this. Again, we are in an inverted EMA, as you can see when the EMAs are inverted. And we have a hard time converting back to the upside. But when we do, we snap, right? And ultimately, when the VWAP snaps our 70 is what we'll look for here. So we'll look for continued consolidation for that 70 to start to round off into this support and potentially a snapback. And then once we snap, the last time we did, at least using that as a measuring tool, we pushed as far as where's my percent? I think I took the percent off. Let me turn that back on. Text, label background. Where's my text? Where's my text? Visibility, price range. Oh, hidden stats. Okay, so price range percent. Yep. So at a 12% move. Bitcoin jumped up about 10.1K. So if you take that, that'll put us right at back at 100K if that were to be the case with this next snap. But again, we got to hold that lower support trend, and that kind of goes all the way back to here. Even if you want to really look at it, but what you got to be careful of is in a bearish move, you'll see this kind of reversal attempt to happen. And as you can see, we're having that consistent resistance right here at the 93s, 1, 2, 2 3s. I'm going to turn that red for now and time's sake, and then we'll watch that. We need to get above it, but essentially, when I start to see this three tap touch, I'm expecting it to retest that 93 and potentially fall. And it'll clear the support levels ultimately, but I think it'll try to retest that 83 one more time, and that's something to watch. We could fall into a bear trap there. I mean, a bull trap there, and pull down into a bearish continuing momentum. So keep an eye on that. All right, let's look at the SPY. Start there. I like looking at the SPY first over them all. And then we'll look at the Q. We're going into our stock market overview. Excuse me. All right, Spizzy Spy. What you do? What you doing? Um, what we saw here honestly ended up being like this. And as you can see, we're actually on that level precisely where we ended up breaking out of this. I'm gonna lower this a little bit to get more touches out of it and see our break point. Um, and honestly, just looking at it, it's right when the 70. Okay, so the VWAP crossed the 70 and it cranked. But again, we're having that resistance right there at that level. Um, right there at the 685s. Basically, I can look at the ES if I wanted to, but just using the spot as a barometer or a meter of my own. It's looking really bullish. I'm not gonna lie. Of course, we have to hold. It looks like it's looking for us to hold something to this degree, right? Um, we're getting compression in here, and this could be potential liquidation to come back and retest the 676s before we push back through that 685. But the thing about it is we're actually kind of supporting on top of it, the VWAPs even above it. But this is like a max level we need to watch. So this could dictate what happens to the rest of the market, right? We could pull back to that 675s there that I see. Um, So watch it in this range here between 675, 685, that $10 range. We're at the top of the range right now, currently hitting resistance. That basically gives me some concern to watch and just see if we continue pushing past like we attempted to. We got the 688. But as you can see, we're only 4 cents above that 685.88, which was previous resistance. So in my book, that's tempting to find support, right? But it's still, you can look a little deeper. It's still grinding in there. I mean, it is showing an uptick. So just see how it comes out, the ES on Sunday, and see what happens. As far as the Q, we played some calls and some intraday shorts or puts on Meta throughout the week. We had some trades on the Q last week where we were doing some longs and shorts on it as well. That's it was gapping up and down, but let's see. Q Q Q. Let's load. Let's let her load. While she's doing that, I'm gonna be putting together my spreadsheet over here for us to go through from today's reviews, preparing for next week. Uh, let's see. Get my Excel open real quick. I guess the queue's not gonna load. Give it a second. There we go. Queue loaded. Anyways, let's what we'll do is we'll close this out. Disconnect it. Old toy paper trading account I'm trying to get out of there. I think it's right here actually. Log out of paper trading. There we go. All right. Let's look at the queue. She's showing that same uptrend. Had that break down there. Same touches that we were watching before. Snapped right here on the VWAP above the 70. What I watch for is the VWAP is still above that 70, but if we gap down like that again, it's potential that we'll gap down below the 70. We do have the potential going back to 622 on the QQQ. And if it does that, then we'll see that VWAP snap below, and that'll put us in somewhat of a short-term bearish trend, probably back to this 612 level down there that you see. That's I'm watching multiple levels of support to see if she holds any of them and use those as basically catch-alls. See if she reverses earlier than she's supposed to. What I've currently been seeing is that the markets are typically $1 ahead of its last dip. So, what that tells me is that the computers are starting to kick in ahead of the actual turn, and that's what I look for as my early indicator. All right, let's look at IWM to look at those lower stocks real quick. Um, Small caps, excuse me. What I can see that's just standing out immediately to me, I see it right there. Is this? You see that? There's our touches. Um, so we're projecting appropriately. Um, have resistance there, right about in there. Comfortable with that. Let me look at it here. Looks to be a little lower actually, even. or another level down there. Let me reframe. Right there is important. Supported off of that. We resisted off of it. So that little range there between the 247, 250s. We got support here. I see you. That's a key level. There you go. Yeah, I like that one better. Got more touches before the breakout consolidation, and it kind of bounced off of that 245. So, um, anything small caps, if we do continue to see a push down, I'm not sure we're going to. I'm not saying I expect shorts next week. Currently, what I do expect is you see how it's established this resistance after support. Typically retest that first, and then it'll resist there. So we'll hold that in, right? Um, we'll hold that there because this will disappear once it reestablishes support into it. It can bounce right off that 70 and off the support at 250.73 and retest that back at the 252.66s, and then it may consolidate. We'll see the 70 come up a little bit above that, but then we could see resistance push the VWAP below. So something to watch. Just close to looking like that 3 tap fall. So something else to look at. All right. Let's look at some of our stocks. I know some people had TGL showing up on their list. They did a stock split just so you're aware why they're almost up 200%, I believe. $5 to 87. They did a 1 to 20 stock split, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 1 to 20 yesterday. Um and it shot the stock up pretty well. Let's see. Where's my low? That's fine. I mean, you do the math. 1,900 and is that 1,591% is what it says. So, um, pretty crazy. But yeah, so we see that at least coming back to the 70 there, right? So you're looking at somewhere around here, $22.98 where it lands, potentially supports right in there, 23.96 potentially. So between 22 $24 is where I would look for this comeback, and just be careful with it for cranking up like this, um, to the moon. Um, Willer, let's look at Willer together. Okay, so some of the team was actually trading, got into this. I suggested some of the team getting into this going into the close there around the 580s, 588s. And as you can see, we're retesting that VWAP. We went into the close not being able to break the VWAP. And that was a little concerning. I was expecting it to just soar through it after close. But we're looking forward to hold support there, at least at the 528. If not making that our stop. 60 cents is a lot, depending on how many shares you have, so be careful. I would have looked for additional support somewhere right in here. Let the chart tell it, right? So um, if it had broke down below 568, I probably would have had to stop in and look for a re-entry at the 528s. So yeah, I mean, if you break 528, then we're coming all the way back down to potentially 367. Uh, so be careful there. That is our next level I see prominent. Um, Kind of correlates. Just maybe this is our buy range here because yeah, look at that all the way back here. If I can get it to align, yeah, or that's precision. Between that 36, 366, 370 might be one to hold there. We'll use that moving forward as our buy zone. So Willer look for entry at 370. I'm gonna suggest the team probably watch it on that 528. I mean, it's right there, so could open below that and get out of it below 5. lose a dollar on the trade, but take your losses. Look for the re-entry at the 366. So, or it could just go parabolic and kill all of these support, these resistance levels that it hasn't confirmed yet. But I'm assuming that it will confirm right here on this. It's been doing that pretty heavily yesterday. It's getting stopped out somewhere around that 636, 635. It just wouldn't push past. So something to watch, but be careful. I'm gonna put that in there for resistance. I'll make it my yellow one because we actually have top line resistance up here that I would look for precisely. So that's what I was looking for out of the trade, a 756 run going into the close. Of course, we ran into the VWAP issues, couldn't support above it, ultimately failed in the pre-market, and never came back. BRG was on the list, and one of our traders was actually in it. I think he got in around 13.95 there, and it went up to 14.84. He eventually got out on that run there, but it did well. It went from 9.45 to and jumped about $5 and some change to a high of 14.84 in yesterday's intraday market. Looked pretty good and has potential to continue to run if we can get this BX trender back on the right side. On that green side, we could see a push to break through these shorter term resistance levels that we haven't confirmed it. Well, I'll say that we've confirmed this, it looks like, but it's reestablished in different types of support that I think will break through within it. And that's what this is indicating. As you can see, that little curve here going, we're about to see the VWAP snap, I believe. Well, VWAP's all the way down here, so it could come back to the V. Or maybe the V meets it around the 1370 and then it snaps. 70 off the top of the VWAP would be great, but either way, looking good. Be careful looking at this one. Next we have Toro, which was up 40% yesterday alone. Now, what you saw there as well, and we'll go out to longer time frames on this. Yeah. So Toro's looking pretty good. Jumped from 261 at its low up to 460. So let me see if I can drill into that. Yep, there we go. What is that? Of 127% since August 12th. So essentially close to the last, what, 4 months? She's up 127%. That's pretty nice. Um, Looks like she broke resistance right here, so I would expect her potentially to consolidate to support if she completes this run. Finding resistance up here has been the issue for her. As you can see, the price is right above that though, so we found some support. She can continue to run and break out of that 595 and keep pushing. From that perspective, if you look a little bit further back, chart's kind of telling you where it wants to go. And investors are letting you know where they're wanting to put the stock. Um, there's my touches right there. Right there. Ball. So that's your price projection if it continues, but again, it has to continue. So let me move this out of here and we'll just look at the stock. No, not my drawing. Indicators, sir. There you go. All right. So and it's always hard getting those little ones, huh? This is how you know. It took some work to get where it's at. And stock investors are pushing it right there off that bottom piece. Right there. Look at that. I mean, you can almost align it here and it still work. Boom. So that's our lower level support. All right. Um, Regardless of what it's doing right now, she consolidates. This is where I think she'll consolidate to. So look for entries there. She needs to support off the 498. She's finding this high level resistance. higher level resistance there. Again, she could break out. She's above that 578, sitting on 588. She's looking good, healthy. Spread that out a little bit for us. Okay. Let's see what else we got. RBBK up 22% yesterday. What? RBRK, I'm sorry. Yeah. 60, what was that? Low there. 69 to $90. Looking pretty good. So at peak, we can look here. She would have been at 29%. From peak to peak, though, she's up 39 total. Um, over the course of the last month or so, coming up on a month, 3 weeks maybe. Okay. Let's look at our, which ones? We were on the weekly top performer, so let's look at our super trend. Okay. Let's see. Seeing some of the same names there. I'm gonna look at some others that I haven't looked at already. On the super trend chart or watch list, excuse me, I'm seeing TGR top, of course, Willer, second of that. D Bridge or DBRG, which we just looked at. Next to that is our IRBT, which I believe is iRobot Corporation. Yeah. And I want to say we've looked at this before. She's looking pretty healthy. Let's identify what she's doing. So I see it. It's supposed to be right there. You see, we curved before a little bit before we crank. So, but let's pull the indicators in here and see what that's telling us. So we have support somewhere in this zone. Okay. Ultimately support there on the bottom, which is what we'll look for more overall, but computers always trade ahead of us. So that's where that support up top comes. It might dip. You can see it curves, dipped down already, and then took off. Of course, the VWAP and that's separated. So I would assume more consolidation back to the 284 before we continue pushing back to retest that 428 level there. As far as top line support, this is kind of what she's showing. Yeah, right there. Boom. Um, that's your resistance going in, so look for that. Then bottom line, what we'll call this section would be that right there. For the 157s. And I'll turn that one green for memory's sake. I'll turn this one yellow. Color coordination purposes. You can see we're trading it within this channel. We need to stay here. We need to ultimately bounce above that 370 again and keep pushing. At least keep support on this level here, which would be right there around the 350s. That's what I would look for. So turn that yellow. All right. Like I said, this week, robotics saw a push from the administration. Interest? Yeah. Excuse me. And also enabling that market for us and making sure America's the leader in that industry. From there we got VSCO, Victoria's Secret. Okay. She's got a secret. She's trying to tell it. Up, almost $6, give or take. Or she says $7, excuse me. Some change. But got up to 50.18. Looking pretty good. On this lower turn trend. Right there. To right. right about here, because that's where she cranked. I mean, I could go to this one and still kind of match up. So she's still running. Top line. We can define that real quick. Uh, Something like this in that channel. Yep. I'm playing above that. So she's wanting to stay in this channel. She's going to consolidate to these levels here. So just keep an eye out for those. I do like this level. Zoom in there a little bit. There it is. Right there. 45 for 94 if you want a re-entry on this one. But she has the old support there. As you can see, it was essentially playing as resistance here. But we broke up, supported, and took off. We since turned into support. She needs to rehold support and W out of here. Otherwise, she's going to come back down to that yellow line, which is perfect re-entry. Nothing's wrong with it. Um, Also, this would be next, right? So between 43.51 and 45.94 before that. So let's see what else. All right. All right. We got LICN. What I need to do real quick is highlight the ones that we already did. So don't do them twice. So don't do them twice. All right. Cleared the second list. We did IBR. And now we're on the third list, looking at LICN. LICN is currently up 46% going into the close yesterday. It saw didn't see that much in volume, but definitely something to look at. Licking International Limited. She supported out those 340s there and currently at 430 as a high of 480. I like that as a 10% move, even if she goes from 430 to 480. Would more appreciate her being around the 418s. That'll give me a little bit more return, potentially closer to 15%. I do like potentially supporting and looking for a re-entry off of this breakout. A slight pullback to the 352. Ride that back to the four. I mean, essentially, this is what I'm seeing right here. So from that same point, and if I were to point this here, you could see that's our projection, right? $6 going into December, mid-December. So we're currently at 430. It's $1.70. You look at that over the trade, that's a little bit short of 60 to 70%. I'm doing the math right. 170. So 30% on the swing. I like 20 to 30% trades. That's where I go for. But she could also support right here as well. So just keep an eye on her. See what she does here. And that's right there at the 413. So if she does not hold, look for support down here on the 352. All right. Next to that is SPHL. Again, looks like she's gonna retest and break through this. So that's another 40-cent move almost going up to the 485s, 486s. I can appreciate a trade for that. A quick swing, again, 10% above my 5% requirements. We have a high of 634, but I'm gonna at least go for that 603 again. That's what I'm looking for. And from there, where did I say I was looking for support? We need to. Oh, I did it, but I need to do it back here probably. Yeah, right there. I see it. Look, right there. So that's our level of resistance we need to break through. All right. Actually, I'll make that yellow. If we break through, then we'll go to that top green up there. I think this is going to try to pull back at double bottled here, which is amazing. Right. So that 277 was the place to be. But if it doesn't ever make it back to that stage, that price point, then this right here, that 305 looks like a good entry. Did I say three? 306, excuse me. So, as far as projection goes, let's pull back a little bit and see what we're looking at. I even like it better there. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. So she's basically telling us what she wants to do there. The $8 range is not impossible for her. 750 is our previous resistance. Um, let's see what this looks like. More like it's somewhere I see it. One of these. This is what I want. Right there. We're at 613. What else was I looking for? I need to turn this blue. Yeah. So she's at 447. I don't see her coming all the way back down to 277. 365 is in the middle there. I'm comfortable with that. If I can get a lower entry than that, that's perfect. I'm not mad at all. Um, Something I would look for a nice swing on back to the eights at some point in time, unless they can get the momentum they need to do it a lot sooner, right? You can see we're at a very important compression zone that should have took off there, and we're already broken down by the time it tried it twice and failed. Now we're getting shorter highs there. So this is playing hard resistance, and I think once we support above it, we're going to take off. So let me mark that. Another one on the chart is SOBR. SOBR SOBA is what we're gonna call this one. All right, currently sitting at 193. I bounced off to 127. Looks like she has support right above that 127. That she just exaggerated her sell. So right there, the 136, about 60 cents above that. I wouldn't be surprised to see this, retest this first before we continue to take off. But looking at levels and keeping up with all of them appropriately, somewhere right in there, is what I would look for to break through support, and then we're going back to 230s. Even on this, you know, going to 240 is a 20% swing. Something I'm willing to take. 40-cent swing on that resistance at that 235, 240 levels. Maybe be an over exaggerated sell. Honestly, resistance is all the way up here at the 368. So she has runway. She traded there, trying to just look. If you look at it from this perspective, where she is supporting here, resisting here, that'll kind of also give you what in this range she's willing to do. So, she could retest the 440s. Ultimately, right here at the 370s is the target I would go after, where she's currently positioned. So, somewhere up in there, right there. And then there we go. So we have a 460 price target on it going into, where's my date? Let's say 425 price target going into the mid-month mark. All right. Next to that is DRMA. Drama. They got that drama. That's what I'll call this one. I get to go for drummer as well. She broke out to 450 already. Already showing good signs of trying to get out of here. These lower price ranges. Let's see what she did right there. So she's showing you where she wants to go, and she's since consolidated to 320. I would look for an entry on the down here on the 269 if she doesn't touch that 70 and just rip right. The 70 bid and purple line here, right there. So I'm gonna track this 270, 268 to be precise. call that my mid-range support. We got lower support where she double bottoms, even better, right? Already double bottom and trying to show potential bounce. All right. So 232. I mean, it's a dollar up. She is consolidating from the 449s. Um, but we could definitely see something to this degree. I see too. Help price project. I'll try to look for the last time. You see, she leaning up to that four. I'll look at it from at least this dip, double dip. You know, this is where she broke out at. I'm gonna track it there. That's what I'm looking at. So, 449 retest is not out of the picture. We'll put that on the watch list to watch going into next week. Another one we have FIEE. Some of these we would like to see a lot more volume than what we're seeing. Um, that's probably what I need to look at first. Be careful with these because they're low volume stocks, which you can see they have some pretty hard swings in them, getting some good momentum. Like this one could go easily back to 372 or 327. I'm sorry, I'm saying my words backwards. But yeah, it's definitely something to watch. So let's see what we have. What are we price projecting? Somewhere up in there, yeah. So she's telling you she's wanting to go back in the mid-March, December, potentially, right around here is what we would look for. She may consolidate from there before she ramps. Let's see. She would technically trade like this. So within this wedge, so probably break, come down and bounce out. We'll see. All right. Let's see. Active buys. Let's look at those alerts real quick. We're coming up on the 7 o'clock hour. As always, you can register to our website at www.mymywallet.com/discord/register or /Twitch/register or /YouTube/register, right? You can get different perks as what we're planning on doing with those separately. And while we have them separated like that, to premium access tools and services that we provide through the platform, as well as all of our free tools that we provide, like our budgeting tool that helps you forecast your finances, our investment portfolio manager to help you manually track your performance, but also automatically track that performance with some of those premium tools. We have a Discord where you can come chat with some of our team members and traders that are constantly looking at good opportunities, swing trades, momentum trades, option trades. We've even incorporated how do you leverage prop firm investing in your portfolio to help either hedge or add on incremental um, buying power, essentially, to feed into your personal accounts, your real controlled accounts, right? If you would, please uh, like and share, excuse me, and show your support. Subscribe to get notified the next time we have our coffee and stock session. We just came up on the 7 o'clock hour a.m. Central Time. If you're in the chat, feel free to let us know. I haven't looked at it. I've been focused on the charts. Let me see. Got some people on Twitch and a few on YouTube. I appreciate y'all joining us this morning. If you have anything you want to look at, just let us know in the chat and I'll pull it up on the chart. We'll actually add it to our watch list to watch it with you going into the week. Give you updates as we find them. That's what it's about, right? Collectively collaborating and sharing the information we all have and use to make these decisions that we're making to ensure that they're sound decisions along the way, right? To wrap this up, we're going to be looking at our current active buy alerts. Most of these stocks, if you were to look at the 24, I say 24/7. We were doing it 24/7. We did have it in the Discord 24/7 at one point, but I'm going to wait for the Discord to kind of drum up a little bit. We're revamping this entire platform now that we've done so much development and got so much accomplished. I'm expecting to release a lot of these tools going into 2026. The overall platform, the MyMIWallet.com platform, and then also activating that Discord to becoming a living, breathing server and community that just doesn't depend on user engagement, but also has some of the tools in that MyMI platform that we built that we can integrate and provide that information back in real time, where you can go into our Discord and make requests, things of that nature. All right. So to get into it, we have the first one. I brought this up earlier at the beginning. CAPR. Um, it gapped up, man, to 21.50. Well, I say it gapped up. There's a gap right there from $8 to 21.50. It ultimately bounced to 40.37 before consolidating to that 21.50 and bouncing off of that, forming new support. Also, right here. So another level to watch be right around there, that 23.05. Um, Currently sitting below the VWAP, but above the 70. So it's really interesting to see. Um, I typically like to see the VWAP breaking through the 70. So what I'm concerned is that the VWAP is going to gap down. That will potentially provide a better entry around the 2302s that I pointed out a second ago. But if she can't hold that support or at least a fail safe, that 2150, then we're going back down potentially to backfill this gap and no telling where that lands. But what I would look at is a potential support off of that 23. So I would get in there and potentially put a stop loss at that 2150. What we're hoping for is that you could get a retest of some resistance up there. And it's not really standing out to me right now. Look on the 10 minutes, see if she just automatically shows up. See, she's not really showing any type of resistance. I would look on the file for an entry anyways. As you could see, we need to drive through this 27 basically dollar level from 27 15s or so up to the 27.75s, 80s. And then we're getting resistance right here is what it's showing. So we need to break that. It looks like we might backfill this gap here though, as thought, and potentially this one as well. And that's where that 2306 comes in on the 5 minute. I'm looking at it from where, just on based on how it performed going into Wednesday, because this is where it really broke out. So that's the chart there. As you can see, it's showing projection for 4037 again. And yeah, it's almost a 2x if you're getting closer to 23. If it breaks at 40 and gets to like 46, it's almost a 2x straight. So, what's the risk, right? Get in at 2301, put in a stop at 150. You lose, yeah, you lose $1.50 on the shares, but the risk, no upside, $20, $23. So something to watch, something to keep an eye on going into the week. It's currently up 5.87% going into the day. So let's see what else we got. What else we got? It looks like pretty much the only thing there. If there's any other stocks or trades you guys want to look at, feel free to let us know. Like I said, I'll put this watch list together. I'm gonna set it up where you can subscribe to our watch list, um, and get that updated to you as soon as we drop it, which will be a combination of all the stocks in here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put overviews of the trades in there. We'll also be releasing that on our trading view, which you can follow us at MyMI Wallet. Doc, and then also Stock Twits is another place that we put some of our trade alerts and analysis, as well as on this Discord. Definitely, it's going to put it there. We're actually building our news generator in there to get news over to you in real time, and house this in the place you want to be at. We always want to let everyone know to connect with us wherever you are, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, X now, TikTok, YouTube, of course, on our Discord, Stock Twits, TradingView. At most of those, the only one that's different at all of those, it's at MyMI Wallet is our handle. The only one that changes is on Facebook. It's at MyMI Wallet News. So facebook.com/at MyMI Wallet News. But at MyMI Wallet, you can find us wherever you are. Subscribe for updates. Like and share if you would. If you know any other traders that'd be interested in joining the community and working together, that's what it's about. See, we have a few people hopping in on the YouTube. Good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Welcome to Coffee and Stocks as always. We expect to start doing this on Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Ooh, that'd be all day. 8 a.m. Central Time, excuse me. And just getting together, looking at what performed over the week and then what we're looking at going into next week also, right? And those active buy alerts. CAPR is the only one that fell on that buy alert. Everything else was more of looking back at its overall performance, but also finding entries in those potential breakout stocks, right? The last thing I do want to look at is CMCX. I do want to bring that up 'cause it was phenomenal this week. SMX, I'm sorry. Um, so I was talking about this on a little bit earlier. It's actually at 258 now, but we were watching this back at the 62s, as you could see. Um, I think there was a trade as low as $50 at one point, and it was consolidating. Um, right. Well, actually, where is she? Where is she? So it was like down here. We were pre-market trading it. Yeah. We were looking forward to break right there on that support, and as you can see, she just VWAP went above that 70, man, and she just went straight to 120. Ended up at 196 in that pre-market. I mean, after hour session, and then gapped up pre-market to 445, consolidated, gapped back up to 490, and has since consolidated back to that third 258 that we landed at. And of course, she's got a lot of downside to confirm. We have no confirmed blue. It's confirmed support down here, and as you can see, I have those levels prepared. 185 is next. Is what I would think. It does have to break below the 223s, my number. Whoop, whoop. But um, but yeah, man, she was phenomenal this week. Seeing that run, I love watching those. It's just amazing to see how far people will take these things. What I did want to pay attention to is like, was there any indication of this parabolic type of, um, move? Like, how do you look and catch those? And then how do you kind of price project for that? So I'm just looking back without looking forward right now. And doing it from this perspective, I wonder where this lands us. Okay. So even in that range, we weren't expecting to go to but to one. Okay, let's look back a little bit more then. So there's got to be an indicator in here, man, that's like, hey, $400 on this one, man. We got to figure that out. And that's what I was talking with the team about is like, yeah, we walk by these things often, but how do you tell? I guess my only way is to do it like this, right? No, it's not even right. Um, how do you tell which ones are going to go parabolic and where's parabolic start and begin? So let's just look backwards. Matter of fact, I'll take that one first, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend to the left. So it's basically telling me right there, somewhere in that down here is what we got. So that was it right there. That that was the indicator, I bet, right there. Or this one from that pre-market high. Let's do this. From that pre-market high, I mean low, excuse me. And then let's look where we would have ended up. I see it. Okay. So it wasn't lying to us. And it hit both targets. So I guess when it hits the lower target, you got to start expecting that one. So that initial first breakout, this is what I'm talking about, was a few days back, before it actually ramped. It jumped from $4 to 72, consolidated, ranked. When it cranked, that's what we're looking for. This right here, this whole area. right there. You can honestly almost move this up where it fits in. What I like to do is put a circle in there and then somewhere up in there, right? Something like that. And we traded out of that, right? So you could almost line this up to where it broke out and see that it's kind of respecting that right there, right? So that was my buy signal. Look at that. So this was projected. Had we had seen it, had we had found that, where did it break out, consolidate, and what did it do after that, right? Did it break those highs? It didn't break initially at the 76.51. It took some time actually. That's when we were looking at the 74. But I guess when we saw it break this level right here, we should have had a a alert at that point. Lesson learned here. So, all right. Let's see, where were we at in this? So we've looked at, you know, multiple watch lists that we pulled some of the top stocks out. We kind of went over the SPY, QQQ, IWM. We didn't look at the Dow, but we looked at crypto, Bitcoin, what we were looking at there. Some of the economic news I didn't have prepared as we're starting to put this stream together for Saturdays a little bit more prepared. We do have our stream Monday through Friday where it's just off the cuff live pre-market. We're looking at what's moving, where's the money going, where are these breakouts like this that we can track and try to forecast some of these things. I don't think anybody expected 445 or 490 even on SMX. That's kind of hard to ever gauge, but just looking at some of the ways we look at things kind of give you those answers ahead of time. Pay attention. So that's what we're looking at game. Um, we reviewed the trades that we want to watch coming up this week. We let you know about some of those premium tools. Again, the platform is meant to be free. There are free tools that can solve just as many of the main problems that you have first. Those premium tools are to have more control over that moving forward more than anything and to expand progress on that. So, not here to just say you got to be a premium member to get the tools you need to work. We have free tools that work just fine as well. The premium tools are only a value add to your success. Beyond that, we'll start providing a subscribe link in the description for you to subscribe to an email to receive our weekly watch list, which will be a summary of this at Saturday's coffee and stock sessions. Like we used to do back in the day. You're more than welcome to join us in the Discord to get on the voice chat. We'll also put that in the description below. You can hop in there, ask to hop on. We can look at all the stocks in your portfolio, all the stocks in your watch list that you want to. This time is time I have to sit down with you guys and do things like this. I expect these sessions to go from 6 to 8 a.m. I'm really just building the lower foundation below, the underlying foundation below the stream and making sure that everything's sound. But my goal is to get it back in the groove like we used to have it back in the day where it'd be 10 or 11 of us on this YouTube stream. We're now on Twitch. You can follow us on both at MyMI Wallet. We didn't have Twitch before. I want to capture all places and, like I said before, connect with us everywhere you are. We have our handles in the stream. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, Discord, StockTwits, TradingView, at MyMI Wallet, at all of those except Facebook. We have a Facebook page at MyMI Wallet News. So that's www.facebook.com/MyMI Wallet News. But you can catch us everywhere you are to follow along, share and give your feedback, share and show your support. As always, please like and share this live stream if you enjoyed what we discussed this morning. Please share with your friends if anyone's interested or looking at any of the stocks we looked at. Just to get our analysis and purview. I see we had somebody jump in the YouTube. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. But again, you know, just want to go back to the top. We're gonna get together on Saturdays, look at the week's performance stocks, the top performers who did well, why. what's their current price projection based on that performance, and then compile that target review list. We'll then send that out to any of our email subscribers that you can subscribe at mymywallet.com/subscribe to join, and you'll get this weekly watch list as a reward, which will summarize our trading view summaries. We'll actually do analysis on trading view, so you'll have an actual chart to use and read along, walk along with. You're not just, looking at some static picture all day. We want everything to be real time as much as possible for you. So we're using all the tools we have at our fingertips to make that happen. As always, to show support, invite people to the community. If you haven't already, let your friends know, your family that may want to trade and understand how to control their finances. That's what we're here for, is to build the tools without using AIs, building tools that are still somewhat autonomous, that allow some type of autonomy for you to report, manage your investments. So that's our goal here at MyMI Wallet: build a community of strong investors to work together on finding investment opportunities, collecting due diligence into a repository, looking at that technical and fundamental analysis on the stocks that we see moving in the markets, and understanding why they're moving. Understanding shifts in the market from an economic purview is something new that we expect to bring to the stream. To have those recaps in Saturdays, coffee and stock sessions, but also in our real-time pre-market sessions that we hold from 6 to 8 a.m. Central Time. Our goal is, if you're a premium member, you can, if you're not a premium member, you're a free user, you're more than welcome here. There's a home for you here. You can join our Discord coffee and stock voice chat at any point, sit in and just listen to the conversation, be a part of that conversation, put in real-time requests in the chat, or right there in the voice chat, right? And we can go back and forth and debate, even if that's the case, but ultimately giving you the information you need. From there, beyond 8, we scoot over into our MyMI exclusive voice channel, which is for our premium members, where we actually actively trade together, whether it's the stocks we look at in the pre-market or other ones that we looked at the day before, the week before. These sessions on Saturdays, right? That's what it's all about, keeping it full circle. But even on the free mode, what we do is, I'll show you the watch list that we have here that essentially are automatically populating. You see how they just refresh their force. These are real time moving watch lists. So as if there's another stock out there in the ether that's doing better than any of these on here, it will replace it in real time for you. So this is living, breathing. We do keep our watch list down here that we discussed in that coffee and stock session for you to continuously monitor and review and see how they're performing, what stage they're in. Just to give you an idea of what you're seeing on this watch list, we have the ticker symbol there, but you'll see next to that column we have a sum. So what we've essentially done is we've tried to gauge what stage these stocks are currently in. Just because says sell does not mean you just go sell off everything, but it's in a sell state from where it currently was the previous minute ago or so, or 15 minutes technically. And so it's just a barometer, I guess, or a gauge, speedometer even, on momentum is what we're trying to gauge there. What state are we in? Are we in a buy state? Are we in a sell state? Are we in the convergence of the two? Or and that's what that weight state is you see there. From there, we actually try to break it down a little bit more scientifically, right? What momentum stage is it in within that sell or that buy stage? You can see right here we have some sell states that have a buy stage, which means it's probably preparing to take off. So not that it says sell everywhere, it's just these are opportunities that fit certain trends and momentums that we're scanning the entire market for, and it's collectively providing that to us in a 24/7 fashion, essentially. So I could watch this all day and pick any of these that most likely be good movers. But what I go after is, where's the money going? And so you'll see your typical market price, market change percentage, which I like to look from top to bottom. I also have a percent week gains, which kind of aligns with this 5 day already. Um, but we have a market cap here to understand where our market cap is. I might sort from the largest to smallest there sometimes, and see what the watch list looks like from that point. And you'll see more common names that you typically see, but it at least helps you trade those. I have a score to show me basically what's our above volume average? Is it above average volume right here? And how far, how deep into that are we, right? And then beyond that, I have a money volume. So what this does is it takes the volume and it multiplies it over that time frame and gives me an accurate listing of how much money has been traded in these stocks. And like I said, I like to follow the money. And if you do that, you'll see things like WBD, INTC, SoFi, RGTI was on the list this week. CNCSA, PFE, Verizon, all those things start showing up. Some of those bigger names. So I like to look at it from a market change perspective, percentage wise. Also, shows me what's actually moving compared to where it started and where it's at. So that's where you start seeing me looking at these, where we're at the looking at whether or not the volume's above the 365-day average. We have the percent over 5 days, 20-day change, month change, 6 month, 1 year, and year to date change. I can view it from that perspective and kind of get an idea of what's actually moving. If I look at it from this perspective, it shows me RGTI is still up 700% over the past year. Over the past 6 months, what's my top gainers? WBD. For the past month here, we've had TGL, which is currently split, IRBT, VSCO, some of the ones we looked at. Path was one we were watching this week. Willer's at the top of that list, right? Some of the stocks that we're actually seeing moving and breaking out are showing up on these lists, and all we need to do is be good stewardess of that information and provide it to you. So what we'll do is in the Coffee and Stocks free channel on the voice chat, we will keep the stream up showing this all day long. And you can always hop in the Discord, whether you're on your phone or on your computer, tablet, wherever you are, and look at that stream and pick a stock. And pick it based off of the performance comparison to everything else on that list. We are trying to pull the top 50. There's probably 1,000 of them behind this list, but it's trying to pull the top 50. We typically sort by market cap or we sort by volume by dollar, and understand where the money's going, which I might, duplicate these where it's more focused on market cap sorting, and then the next one be focused more on the same, scanning script, but focused on that money volume. Okay. Um, Again, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. If you ever want to join, you can always join the voice chat. It's no problem. If you know anyone, we have a referral program to reward you for your efforts in sharing with others. Also, I want to point that out. It's not just me sitting here asking you for help. It's actually me giving back to you for helping, in multiple ways. And so, that'll lead into our next conversation, our crypto integration, and how we expect to bring that into the fold, and how we'll leverage that to build our reward systems, and how we'll manage our referral system through that, and also how we'll handle like project management and man. So when you figure out you've just been talking and not recording any of it. Anyways, it was a good practice run. We're coming up on the 7:30 hour. I'm not sure what was muted and what wasn't, but I'm gonna just run back through here. I'm hoping I captured most of my audio on the trade alerts. I don't know where I got muted apparently. So, if anything, I'll do a voiceover over the trades again. We're basically trying to put our coffee and stock session back together for Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., where I can actually sit down and not be in a trading session, focus on that and go through some of the weekly top performing stocks with you, but also look at some of those going that we're looking at going into next week. As always, if you can, like, subscribe, and share to show your support, but also to get updates as we're streaming. So, as far as the stream goes, you're more than welcome to join us on our Discord. We'll put it in the description below, links into the bio, where you can actually jump on the voice chat with us and we can go over stocks that you're in or watching on your watch list. We can show you our watch list. What we typically do is from during the week at least, what we do Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Time is we have our coffee and stocks free voice channel opened. We're sharing screens, we're sharing our watch list, our automated watch list that's on your screen right now, our charts. We're going through each of these. We're doing fundamental analysis, doing due diligence on the news that's being released, whatever events economically going on. We're keeping track of those things and how they affect these stocks. And then overall market consensus, comparing that, and then using all that information that we're collecting as individuals within the community and compiling it into one place. So we're all having that information vetted and then available to each other. So with that being said, you're more than welcome to join our website at www.mymi.com/discord/register. If you go there specifically, you'll have the link to the Discord while registering your account, and we'll keep it that simple to keep it all in one place. You can connect and will be able to connect. Let me reframe that. Your Discord directly to your MyMI account. I see we have someone jumped on YouTube. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. But you will be able to connect that. And so what you'll be able to do is hop on the Discord in the morning. You can view the charts from your phone, your tablet or laptop, desktop, whatever, and basically be a part of the conversation. If you not don't want to, you can always drop something in the chat below on the stream at any point, and we'll look at the stocks you want to look at. But ultimately, it's about getting together in the morning, pre-market, and looking at that. And then at 8 a.m., we switch over to our MyMI exclusive channel, where we actually start doing active trading and real-time alerts as the market opens going into the rest of the session. Even looking at it from an after-hour session. So, but you can always join by becoming a premium member of the Discord and supporting the community. The last thing I want to point out is, we appreciate any support that you do give us. As we rebuild all of our platforms from scratch, we have some issues where I spent a ton of my time in Facebook building communities there, and Facebook felt differently about that and decided to take it away. Now we're starting from scratch, so I don't expect a bum rush of people, but if you can share, like and comment, and let others know what we got going on over here. Um, let's see. So. We've covered most things. Like I said, you can always go to www.mymi.com/subscribe also, and we will send out a weekly watch list on Sundays, I'm assuming. I'm expecting at least or targeting to give you a full overview of the stocks that we reviewed in these sessions on Coffee and Stocks on Saturdays at MyMI Wallet. And that way you'll have all of the trading view links and charts in a newsletter that you can take with you throughout your week and reference going forward. But having real time data is our goal, and making sure that information is being passed back around as quickly as possible to make better trade decisions, manage risk, and ultimately win more. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. I'm really kind of upset that I think I went through most of the stream without my mic unmuted, and I will have to go back through it and check. But as we continue to practice and get more practice in, I think this will become a better and better platform for us to take a break out of the week, step back, and just look at the overall market. Today we went over the stock market. We looked at the QQQ, the SPY, and the IWN to understand what those small caps are too. We went over crypto market overviews with Bitcoin. I didn't look at Ethereum today, but I did know it broke 3,000 yesterday, which was a significant psychological level. And then uh, we were supposed to talk about some more economic news and calendar reviews, so that's something I expect to add on in the next coming session, is having some economic data to look back at over whether, it'd be the last month or just current week's events, and then any calendar event reviews as well while we're there. And then in that session, after we get past that, we'll go through review and target trades for that upcoming week. And then that weekly watch list that we're expecting to put together, and we'll track throughout that same week to see how they perform. As always, if you know someone and that's looking to start investing, that's new to it, or someone that's even experienced but will want more tools, we're trying to build a platform for everyone, a home for everyone, individuals that can build a community of investors to work together, to win together. And how do you do that? You do that in a centralized location. You track that in a centralized location, and you leverage tools that the you know institutional investors have available at their fingertips that they charge us thousands of dollars for. So that's our goal with what the MyMI Wallet platform is built around, is to build those same set tools and hand it over to the general public for use, and to prosper and progress in their trading journey, right? And ultimately win their financial journey to wellness and success, right? Not wealthiness, but wellness and success, peace of mind. And we have some different ways that we use some of those tools. I'll be doing some separate recorded videos probably to go through the website and kind of show you what it can and can't do. So stay tuned for that and look for that on the YouTube, on the Twitch, TikTok as well for video, and then just normal community where everywhere you are. My Wallet at My Wallet on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Discord. You can find us on TikTok and YouTube at MyMI Wallet. The only thing that's different is our Facebook page, and that's at MyMI Wallet News. As always, we appreciate you guys joining and hopping in. We wish we'd had more people here, but we understand we're just starting and we got to start from somewhere. And if you can help us start quicker and getting that going, feel free to share the link. Subscribe if you haven't, like and comment, and give us your feedback on how this session went. This is only coming up on 7:38. I expect to start from 6 to 8, like I said, but with this being a short formatted schedule on today's show, as I'm just kind of piecemealing this together and seeing what works, what doesn't, I wish I could have recorded myself and we'd be good to go with a good stream today. But we'll make up for it. We'll keep progressing. We'll keep growing together and overcoming these humps. So, otherwise, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to drop feedback in the comments. Like I said before, as always, we appreciate the support at MyMI Wallet. We welcome you to the community at MyMI. The future of finance is here, and the control mechanisms that we need can be built by our own hands. We can own what we use to build our success and our future and share that with the world. It's our goal. So, other than that, I appreciate you all. If you guys ever want to have any changes in the sessions, please let me know. But otherwise, I hope you all have a good weekend. If we do not stream next Saturday, well, we should stream next Saturday, but with Christmas coming up, um, you know, take care of your family, enjoy your time with your friends and family, and take care of yourself ultimately. Don't stress about making money. We can show you how not to here, and that's what we want to welcome you to come join us for. Other than that, I hope you have a good day. It's here cold in Louisiana and wet. If it's not where you are, enjoy that. But otherwise, have a good day. Thank you all for joining.